Good evening, everybody, and welcome. I see Uncle John and Jaco talking there. I'll read what you guys are saying just now. Give me a second. But for now, Mac, Paul, Rab, and Dimitri, welcome on board here.
Hello.
Hello.
Right. So, gentlemen, I'm not going to do a flight. I'm not going to rush everything to try and fit a flight in there. That's not the purpose here. We want to have a discussion about this uplink story, the difference between importing a company route and doing the uplink. Which would include a company route as well. So we need to explain where we get the files from, what they initially look like, what we want them to look like, how are you going to rename them, and then I'll show you Dimitri's effort of today. Not Dimitri, Antonio. I beg your pardon, guys. Antonio's effort of today for his little script that will automate this and interface with SimBrief for you. So there's lots of information to look forward to. Please don't be in a rush. If you're in a rush, rather go do something else, finish what is bugging you, and come watch the video later. You need a cup of coffee and you need to just concentrate with us a little while so you guys can understand the ifs, the ands, the buts, and the whys and the why nots. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Okay, but it's rather important because this will typically be the video I'm going to refer everybody to that doesn't understand how it works or why it does what it does. Okay, so just take in mind that's how important I think this video should be. Do you guys agree?
Yes.
I think you should.
Makes sense.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So I've invited Paul and Mac to help me with the King's English because I got some comments. My version of English apparently isn't that very well received sometimes because, I mean, I'm sitting at the southern tip of Africa here and our way of speaking English, it's just weird sometimes. So, they're going to ask questions and they're going to clarify things as we talk if need be, and I asked them to help me, so they're not going to be considered rude. Okay, so they're here for your benefit as well, so hopefully everybody will understand. So okay, let's see the comments. Evening, Rob, I see you came in there. Al, good evening. Uncle John, we can hold off on some of the questions. If there is something that's not clear, it's better to stop me when it's not clear than to forget to come back to it, okay? But if there is general questions, I agree with you. Let's keep it to the end. Then we can refer back and do things. So we don't have a continuous interruption, basically. That's what it comes down to, I think, if I read it correctly. Okay. So I see we've got...
Nico,
yes, sir.
when you get to loading the route page, can you hold there? I've got a question to ask you.
Already. Okay, cool. Exactly. Okay, we'll do that. Okay, so I think it's important to start at the very beginning, at the basics. Okay, and for that, I'm just going to drag a couple of things onto the screen here, if you give me a chance. And then I want to share it out with you guys. Okay, so what you guys see on the screen currently is SimBrief, right? You can clearly see it's SimBrief. Let's take away the bar at the top there and make it a little bit more prominent. Okay. So this is SimBrief. As you guys can see, for those of you that know about SimBrief, I've already done the dispatch. All right. So from the dispatch, I can now do the export. For those of you that do not know SimBrief, SimBrief is a dispatch system. So you do your flight planning, or if you've done your flight planning on the outside, like I do, you can import it into SimBrief and then do the actual dispatch. The dispatch functionality comes in that it will do certain calculations for you. It will give you all the necessary flight information in terms of your weights for the cargo, the fuel, the passengers. It will calculate your flight levels, all these kind of things. It does everything in one neat package. Okay, I have not done the export yet. We're going to do that next, and then I will in fact show you the PDF that we get with doing the dispatch. Now, I know from experience that a lot of flight simmers do not do proper dispatching. Okay, I mean, I've seen it in support many times. So guys, if you have not ventured into the SimBrief arena, go in there now, start using it proper, because from here on you get the proper dispatches. Then you won't get things like unable cruise altitudes and all these other errors because of calculations that were just thumb sucked or never even considered. Okay, so that's the significance of SimBrief. It gives us our operational flight plan. All right. It also gives us the exported FMS and XML files that we are going to need to use in either the company route import or in the Uplink facility that has now been put into the Zibo. Okay.
And SimBrief is still free, I believe.
Yes, SimBrief is still free. The only thing that you have to buy or pay for inside of SimBrief is the AirRack data. Okay. Now, there is a cheap trick that I always recommend to the guys, because not everybody's got $10 or $15 a month to pay towards this facility. Is buy one every quarter. You know, invest like 3-4 times a year into a new AirRack at least, because they do change, but not that much. Okay, and then you can kind of get around the monetary constraints. Right, so just bear that in mind. So SimBrief is, according to me, that's a must-have. Okay. The other tool that I use, and this is usually where I start my flight planning with, is the NAVEK desktop charts. Okay. Now, NAVEK actually owns SimBrief now. Okay. But I always work from this side. There's a couple of reasons I just want to quickly mention to you. I love building my own flight plans because then I know it's correct. SimBrief does not have any artificial intelligence or any way to predict the proper runway in use other than the winds. Okay, so if you operate to and from airports with SOPs, Madrid, for instance, Dublin, for instance, Heathrow, I can go on, name quite a few, Amsterdam. These airports have standard operating procedures, and these things are not known to SimBrief. So SimBrief is dumb when it comes to that. It just gives you what it thinks it should give you. And this is the reason I use NAVEK desktop charts. Okay. The other big difference between the two is SimBrief does not include the runway, the SID, the star in your exported FMS file. It literally contains your waypoints of the flight route only. So when you get into the Zibo mod, you have to still go and select the runway, the SID and the star. And if there are any transitions, you have to check that as well, put that in yourself. Whereas when you export from NAVEK desktop charts, as you can see, I've already got all the information there: runway, sits, transitions, star transitions, approach, everything. It's all given to you in the exported file. And the next thing that is very important that I'm going to talk about, sorry, this is my English leaving me a little bit in the dwang. But one of the things, the considerations of this evening that you need to understand is there's a difference between importing a company route into the Boeing FMC and uploading the company route. Okay, that's a huge difference. Okay, and I'm going to show you. So I'm going to show you that you can actually mix and match the two, and it all depends on your requirements. Okay, so we're going to look at all the aspects. All right. And I'm ignoring the chat at this point in time, guys. Please, if you really need me, throw a couple of exclamation marks. But I want to just keep everything kind of flowing, okay? And if I go too fast, also tell me. All right. So we've discussed the differences, so you understand the reason why I would use NAVEK desktop charts versus, just SimBrief. There is no right and wrong here. If you don't feel like doing the NAVEK desktop charts bit, it's fine. It's up to you. But I need you to understand after tonight what the differences would be. Okay. So that's the goal. Okay. So inside of SimBrief, let's start with the basics again. Inside of SimBrief, you can actually click here on flight plan downloads. So once you've done your dispatch, you can go and find the explain, 11 and 12 format is the same. You can download it, and there's your XML data file. Those two files are the ones that we need for the uplink, and the one that we need for the company route is the first one anyway. Okay, so it's going to be up to you whether you're going to use the company route or whether you're going to use the uplink. If you're going to do it the quickest way, you're probably going to download both of these files, and then you're just going to rename them. I'm going to show you step by step how we do that. Okay, if like me, you want to utilize the facility of getting your SIDs and stars and runways and transitions already in the FMS file, I would recommend that you take the actual flight plan from here, and then you take the XML file from SimBrief. Okay, then you've got the best of both worlds. Then the choice comes, are you going to leave the file name that you get and use the company route import with NAVEK, or are you going to rename it to B738X and use the uplink facility? Okay. Again, that's a choice that you need to make. As we progress, you'll start to figure out where I'm coming from and where I'm going to. Okay. So for our purposes, let's keep it simple as possible. Instead of downloading here, I want to give you a cheap trick that SimBrief actually provides. Instead of you coming here, downloading these things manually, then go to your downloads folder, moving it into your Explain 12 output FMS plans folder, what I would highly recommend is that you get this little facility. This is called the SimBrief downloader. Okay, so let's just make it clearer. Okay, so in here, you can literally pre-program the path that you want for your Explain 11, 12 and XML data files. All right. And all you need to do is click export. And that's how easy it is. So you immediately get all the formats for all your aircraft, including the Zibo, the two files you need for the Zibo mod, and also including the PDF. So for us guys who take our flight simming a little bit more serious than others, this is like our Bible, okay? This is the thing that we use to govern the flight, to set up the flight, to make it work, to actually get the figures to balance with each other. I can put these figures in into my Zibo, and it will balance back to all of these figures, all of them, because that's the way we made it, okay? It is just so easy to see if you made a mistake. Once you've got the paper in front of you or the PDF, whatever, you know what I mean, compared to what is in the actual aircraft. And it's easy enough to spot a mistake if you made any. So I'm going to keep this one here on the side, and we're going to look at it later on again. But for now, we've done the export from SimBrief. So I'm going to drag my folder on here. This is what the SimBrief downloader gives you. Okay, SimBrief downloader. These are the files. So SimBrief has got an easy naming convention. It's got the ICAO codes for the departure and the arrival with a 01 FMS. The moment you see this format, you know it comes from SimBrief. It does not include sit, star, runway, or transition information. It's literally just the route. This is the XML file. Now, remember previously in the previous Zibo mod of a day or two ago, you had to copy the name from the FMS file and make that file the same file name. Now this has changed. Okay, so typically what you would do right now is, this is the easiest way of doing it. You're going to simply rename it B738X. I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to go to the next one, and I'm going to call it the same name. So obviously the extension is different, XML versus FMS. Now in this format, you are now able to use the Uplink facility in the FMC. It will then import the flight plan, your flight number, call sign, whatever you want to call it. It will have the departure and the arrival, no sit, no star, no runway, no transition. Okay. It will also give you all your winds. So you will get the winds in your winds in forecast. You will also get the preference initialization page, all the information there. And then once you've done all your performance calculations in your FMC, you can go to your route data page and you will also get your cruise winds. And everything will be uplinked from here. The way it works in the FMC is it's all standalone. Okay, so each page, you have to go to that page. I'll show you step by step as we continue. You have to click on the request and then the load button to get the information read and extracted from these files. Okay, and because it is modular or whatever you want to call it, because it all works standalone, it now affords me the pleasure of actually going to the export facility here. I choose my Explain 1112, I click Save, and now I've got like a hybrid situation. So now you can see there's a third file, again, almost similar to the one we just had. We've got the departure and arrival ICAO. There's no 01. So that I know is the NAVEK desktop charts FMS file, and that will include runway, sit, star, transition, all those additional features that you do not get from SimBrief itself. Okay. Now, because we cannot have two files with the same name, I can either decide to delete that one, rename this one, or I can simply leave this one. Because we've got two systems in the FMC. We've got one that says company route import, which is then going to be used in this format, that file, and then we've got the upload that's going to use that. So it's two distinct functions, two distinct things that are capable of running and happening in the FMC, and they are not going to interfere with each other. I'll show you. Okay, I'll also show you how to reset the FMC if you make a mistake and you just start again. All right, so now I've literally got both of best worlds. I've got NAVEK doing the route, and I've got SimBrief providing all the winds and the performance data for me. Is that too fast? Is that too slow? Is that too much? Please tell me. Talk to me. Are you guys all right?
That was beautifully explained.
Okay. I'm glad.
I just
Brilliant.
got here, so I'm lost. Sorry.
Sorry, Tom?
I just got here. I saw you yesterday talking about this, and I saw the update came through, so I'm a little lost, but I'll catch up.
Okay. All right. Well, that's why we're making this video. So, yeah, then you can replay later as well. Okay, guys. So, let's use what we've got. Okay. If you can get to this point and you understand how you got here and why you got here, then I'm happy. We can go into the cockpit and we can look a bit further, and then we can start implementing it. So as usual, we're just going to set up our ground power and just get going.
Flight attendant spare for takeoff, please.
Wrong switch. Right, so I'm just going to go through the normal setup things just so that we've got the lights and everything in the right place, kind of a thing, and then we can look down and go hit the box. All right, I just thought of this. Let me just remind you guys. No, I don't need to do that. That's fine. Forget that. Scrap it. We're here. I was thinking there about LPV for a second. Not the right video for that. Sorry. Okay. Right, so we're going to look at our FMC. I am going to put that PDF document on there as well. Right, can you guys read the PDF okay? Can you see it?
Bit small. Bit more.
Better?
Bit more. Can you go? Have anybody come in later that can see it?
All right. Mac, I'm running a bit out of space. Let me just try and move it a little bit more.
That's better. Even if you have to scroll, Nico. So.
No, I will definitely scroll, but I need you to be able to see what I'm pointing at and things like that.
Okay, so. Right. We can see roughly where you're pointing.
All right, okay. Okay, so again, we're just setting up normally. Nothing has changed yet, so I'm just going to quickly grab our coordinates, put that into the RS GPS position there. Now we get to route. Okay, so on screen, you will now have the opportunity to either input the company route or you can do your request. And the reason is you've got all the files available. Right, sorry, let me just drag it like that. Got to keep my wits about me as well, yeah. Right, so the XML and FMS called B738X is now going to be used by the flight plan request, and this one is going to be used by company route. That's by design. That's just how it is. Okay. So if you go LIME EDDB and go company route, you can go activate and execute. Right. You see no flight number is filled in, so now I have to go TIX 001. That's my call sign, so that goes in there. When I go to departure and arrival, you will see it's already got the runway, and there is my SID. Okay, so I can click on it. There's my transition as well. You see, because I exported from the NAVEK file, it's all there. Okay. Then if we go to the arrival side there again, you can see it's already there. Okay. If there is a transition, no, we didn't use a transition. We're on final, so that's fine. So you see, that is just the beauty of using the NAVEK file. Okay, because it includes all of that. If we now go click and hold the menu button for 5 seconds, you see the FMC resets. Now we can do the same thing. We don't have to put the coordinates, it remembers. But now we're going to click request plan. Okay, so we're going to click request. So now it's reading the B738X files. Right, it's ready, so now we can click on load. There you go. So now it gives us, you see there, the company route is mentioned. It gives the origin, the destination, the flight number. But look, no runway. There's no runway information. Okay, so we go to activate, execute, departure. Now we have to check. Mac, I'll be with you now.
Can you hold after you've activated?
Okay, well, I've just gone past that. What do you need? What do you need? Tell me. Because I can go back there.
I thought you didn't execute the route until it had been cross-checked.
No, Mac, that's in the real world. That's in the flight sim. The fastest way of screwing with a flight simmer's head is asking him to remember something 5 minutes from now and come back to a page he's left already. I promise you, that's the fastest way you're going to screw with his head. He's not going to remember. And even if he does in the first 2 flights, the third flight, he's going to forget. So my principle of teaching a flight simmer is you never ever move off a page. If it says activate, or if that light is on, you just don't move off of it because you're going to forget.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Right.
the
Fair
best of us will forget. So that's it. So there is 28. Now I can refer to my flight plan here, and we see we've got, that is our star LEG L1P. LEG L1P. You see, now I have to physically choose all the information. You see, there's the transition as well. So I have to choose it, and now I have to execute it. And this is the difference between the FMS file from SimBrief versus NAVEK. NAVEK already includes this. Over here, we have to come and do this ourselves. And then the same goes for the arrival. Okay. We might as well quickly do it. That's 25 left. ILS. And we said we're on finals. ATG 25 left. That's it. And we execute. Now if we go to our next page, see there's going to be discontinuities. We'll fix that later. We're not going to worry about that in actual fact right now. Not part of what we're going to do tonight. But basically there's your plan. Okay. If we now look at the way I would do it, me personally, I'm just resetting everything quickly. So what I would do, and this is because it's modular and each page is basically standalone. Unless Zibo's changed this version. I've been toying with the previous version today. So let's have a look, see. So what I would typically do is I would not bother to request the flight plan from this page. Okay, me personally, I will just go LIME EDDB. And I'll just put in my TIX number. I've been doing it forever, so this is typically what I would do. Because why? I want the SID, the star, the transitions, everything already in place. Okay, as you can see, it's already back in place. So I'm happy to do this. Now, if I go to the Perf Init page, because it's standalone, you see there's your request. I can request from here. It's going to have no influence on the flight route. That's done, dusted. I can literally click the load button. You see there's a load button over here. Right, there you go. And then all I need to do is find my reserves. My reserves, there you go. I'll make it 2.4. because we round up, and then I just execute. Okay. What you need to understand is just because it imports the information regarding your zero fuel weight and gross weight does not mean that the aircraft is physically loaded. Okay. In the Zibo mod, it is obviously done through the tablet. So we still have to load everything from here, and we can use the payload is 15.4. Right. and we can use the fuel 6.7. Right. Just for demonstration purposes, I made it to load instantly. There's no little petrol guy coming to put fuel in, so that's just how it is. Right, and now we can go back, and we can double-click the zero fuel weight. You see, it's now suspected we made a change, but we've got exactly 58.5. You see there, 58.5. 58.5, and in terms of our takeoff weight, we've got 65 estimate, but we've got 65.2, and the difference is the taxi fuel, because we're not at the runway for takeoff yet. Okay, so the 200 kilograms is taxi and APU fuel, and all we can do just to make sure is just click execute. But as you can see, it's in perfect balance. What is in SimBrief, based upon the template I made that you guys should also be using for the Zibo mod, and what is then calculated by SimBrief, what is given in the OFP directly is relatable and balances with whatever is actually in the Zibo mod. But please remember, this does not load it. The EFP loads the Zibo, so you have to start there, or at least go put it in when required. Okay, makes sense? You guys okay?
Yes. Yes, it does. So it's taking the amount of fuel from the OFP at this stage.
It's taking the zero fuel weight and gross weight, not the fuel. That is why it said insufficient fuel. It did not update the fuel. That fuel only got updated once I updated the EFP pool.
Okay.
So I had 3.6 in there. Yeah.
So as in the old days, when you're actually fueling up and you haven't got the fuel on board, you would wait.
Yes.
Would you to for the fuel to be filled before executing that stuff?
You can either wait or you can put the planned fuel in there.
Right. So there's no change on that,
No,
really.
no, that's still the way it works as usual. Okay. So if you put the planned fuel in there, remember, after doing your performance calculations, you need to come and remove it again, and you can't really do anything until the fuel is then topped up. Okay. Just don't ever forget the planned fuel in there. Otherwise, it's going to think you don't use fuel while you fly, and then you get a skewed reading in the fuel gauges, or at least in the FMC.
Right.
Okay.
And I assume you can overwrite any of these. If you change your mind, you want
Yes.
a bit more fuel, you can type that in, no problem.
Well, I wouldn't type it in here. It's pointless to type it in here. You need to put it through the EFB.
Sure. But
You can
if
type
you
it.
wanted to change reserves or
Reserves you can
cruise
change.
or whatever.
Yeah. All the other stuff you can change, but your gross weight, your zero fuel weight, and your fuel, those first three comes from the tablet. So even if you change it here, even if you type it in here, it's meaningless because it's not got any value. It's just a figure on a screen. The value comes from the EFB.
Excellent.
Okay. Right, so the other place we can now check, well, let's just set up everything quickly. Let's go to our N1 limits. We're okay with that. Let's go to flaps 5. So we need to do our performance calculations and stuff. So once this is done, okay, we can go to our legs page. We can go to our route data page, and we can request the winds. We can't do it before the performance calculations are done. Then it's meaningless to come and do this here. It won't work. So now we click on load, execute, and there you go. Now we've got the actual winds that's uploaded as per the OFP. I see they all look the same, so we have to check that. But this, anyway, even if that is incorrect, guys, that is the operation of it. So just remember that it might be that Zibo still needs to just finalize it. But anyway,
that's using the average cruise winds from the OFP.
Yeah, let's go have a look.
The initial one uses top of climb.
I think he's not done with this yet, Mac. So let's concentrate on the principle. That is how you do it. We'll worry about the actuals later, because I can see what you mean, and I think that needs a bit of a tweak, me personally. But in essence, you have to complete the FMC. Then you can come back to the legs. Then you go root data, and then you can request the winds. Okay, so just bear that in mind. That's just the operation. The other place where we can go to. Hello, Steve. Yeah, this is average winds. I can see it. It actually tells me those are the average winds. What we are expecting, Jaco, is we're expecting per waypoint wind. So we are expecting this. Where is top of climb? Where does top of climb happen? So we're expecting that one. You understand? Per waypoint. This is what I'm expecting. See? 22, 38. So we'll just double check with Zibo. So please, guys, don't stare yourself blind into figures. We're talking about the principle of how to use the system at this point in time. Okay, the other place that we want to go to is actually then the forecast winds. All right, so over here, again, this reads from the B738X file. So it's standalone. I can just come and do my request. It's going to read, extract the information, and then just populate it up here for us. So this is the one page where the load button now sits on the other side, just because of space, right? And then we can just execute it. There you go. So now we've got all the winds covered, basically. Okay, apart from a calculation error on that one page, but in principle, the code now works. We can upload all the winds. So I hope you understand. Is there anything else you want me to specifically mention before we go on to maybe a Q&A or something? Because that's about it.
Very well there. That's all works very well.
Mm.
I mean, there are a few questions that I know Mac wants to ask, and I've got a couple.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're ready for a couple of questions.
Okay, I'm ready if the guys on stream are ready. Are you guys happy? Do I need to repeat something? Are you guys ready for Q&A? Because then you can start throwing your questions and things there as well on the stream. I'm ready.
Okay. Is it important which OFP format you choose? Must it be Lido or whatever it's called?
I don't believe that it is necessary, but Lido is preferred. Okay. When we're done with the Q&A, I want to quickly show you Antonio's little script, and then I'll say something more about this format. Remind me. Okay.
Okay.
Did you notice Zibo in the dev room did quote the airlines that it would read from earlier, didn't he?
I can't say I saw that, Mac. No, I must have missed that.
I'll try and find it. I'll come back to you.
All right. Okay. Well, listen. Just to make it easier on everybody, let me just quickly mention this. If you guys buy into this, and it's actually a free product, that this little tool that Antonio wrote, or even the one that Hendrik wrote, okay, but I've got my hands on Antonio, so I'm hammering on that one. If you guys use that Python script from Antonio, it actually supports all the SimBrief OFP formats of all the airlines that have 737-800 NG aircraft. So Antonio did the research. He found which airlines it was, probably the same list that you're talking about, Mac. And in his little plugin script, he actually made provision that if you use, like for instance, Southwest, SWA, RYR for Ryanair, whatever, it actually gets the information and is then putting it into the Zibo file so Zibo can read it. Okay. Yeah, so Antonio's taken that step on him. But
That might be the reference I was referring to.
Could be. So literally what I'm suggesting here is check if your OFP that SimBrief gives you actually is from an airline that supports 737-800 NG. If they don't have it in the fleet, you will probably not have all the information you need to fill in all the blanks in the FMC anyway. So you'll pick up soon enough if it doesn't. If there is any doubt, the silver bullet is use the Lido format, because everything we do, this whole OFP that you see here, that I'm scrolling here, this is Lido format. It contains everything you need to fly a Boeing 737-800. Okay, so if in doubt, use Lido. Otherwise, do the research. Otherwise, use Antonio's script.
Are we going to see that next, Ben?
Yeah, but if there's more questions, let's also answer a couple of questions before we get totally off the questions. Yeah, go.
So is this a mandatory thing to fly Zibo now, or do we still get to use the other way?
Well, it depends on what you mean the other way. Nothing related to the winds is mandatory. It is a nice to have that gives you better performance, better calculations, and things like that. It won't kill you. Okay? Remember, the Boeing design philosophy says anything in a box is mandatory. Those are the things that can potentially kill you. But anything in a dashed line is a nice to have. You could get a better climb rate or descent rate, a better path. You could get, there's benefits to filling it in opposed to not filling it in. But there's nothing that's going to stop you from flying the aircraft if you do not use it. Does that answer the question?
Let's still use. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. I was just asking a question. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I'm still using the old SimBrief renamer that we came out a couple of weeks ago. The guy made for us.
Hendrik, yes. Hendrix, yes.
Yeah, the other one I couldn't get to work very well with me. The other script does. The renamer still gives me the wins. My question was, with the rest of the stuff in the FMC, all the different requests you can do now, was that going to affect anything?
Well, first of all, yes. Yeah, it will. But let me show you so that you've got a reference of some sort, right? So what the renamer does, what that Hendrik wrote, okay, is he takes the two files that you get from SimBrief in the old Zibo, and he literally renames them like that. So you've got the FMS and the XML both with the departure and arrival ICAO. The problem now is this file with the departure ICAO and arrival ICAO.xml is no longer used. It's no longer useful. It serves no purpose. Okay, because the code in the FMC has been rewritten to such an extent that it only reads the winds and the uploads basically from the B738.xml, that one, B738.xml. So,
Where are those files at?
well, it comes from SimBrief. Okay, so you're going to run your SimBrief downloader or the renamer. Once Hendrik has updated it, I did speak to Hendrik. He's going to have to rewrite the program or change the program at least. Okay, so basically you get this. I showed it earlier just before you came in. Obviously, you have to download the FMS and the XML from SimBrief, or you need to get the FMS from NAVEK. So once you have these files, okay, in the new dispensation, in the new way that Zibo works now, like I said, that file is absolutely useless. So what we want is we want an XML file called B738X. So whatever the file name is, let me actually re-download it. Okay, so I'm going to click the export. Sorry.
No, she's saying I'm sorry about this, guys. I'm going backwards with you. I didn't want to do that.
No problem. No. There's new people watching the stream anyway. So instead of them rewinding, they're now getting this as well. So as you can see, that's the original export, right? So there you have the two files. So in Hendrik's program, you either now going to do this. Hi, man. See, like that. But, like I said, that file is useless. It means nothing now. That needs to be renamed B738x.xml. Now it's useful. Okay? Now you can use it, but it comes from SimBrief. The XML file always comes from SimBrief. Navigraph does not have such a facility to export it. Navigraph can only give an FMS file. Okay? So now, the other thing that you need to understand is, let's go to the root page, right? So anyway, let's just delete it again. Okay?
So what I'm getting is the 738X file, you just name it yourself. It doesn't come from anywhere. You have to rename it yourself.
Well, the name comes from Zibo and the file comes from SimBrief.
Okay.
Okay. So if you look at the situation we have now, because we are dealing with a SimBrief file, there's no point in you typing the company route and doing a flight plan request. So what we are saying now in the new dispensation is now we're going to copy the name and we're going to call both files B738X, both of them. Okay.
Gotcha.
And then what happens is when you click, I just want to move this out, when you click flight plan request, in other words, you're skipping company route totally because there's no company route for you to input. You're going to click flight plan request. Now it is reading both of those files and it's importing all the information of all the winds and the wind uploads and your flight plan at the same time from a single click. You understand? Now,
I got it now.
Yeah. So now all we do is we just click on load. Okay. If you click on clear, you see you have to do it again. Okay, so I just wanted to show you. So now we have to do it again. Don't click on clear to get rid of the spam at the bottom there. Click on load when you see load. So let it just read it again. Steve, I'll be with you now. Right, there you go. You see now it's read it. It's also read all the winds and everything. Okay.
All right, that sounds outstanding.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I got it. I'll try it. I'll test it and see what I can get, come up with. See if it works for me. I'm sure it will.
Yeah, 100%. Steve, okay, let me answer your question visually as well. There's Navigraph. I'm going to export the Navigraph file so that it includes the SID, stars, runways, all those other things. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to activate execute. Then we're going to go back. This is LIME and EDDB. I'm going to put that in the company route and execute it. Okay. So effectively what happens is you do not rename the Navigraph file. The Navigraph file stays ICAO.fms. All right. And the reason we want to leave it as that is we're going to use it in the company route. Now, this is a bonus. This is literally doable as well. Okay. Oh yeah, now it's holding on to it. See, now I can't delete it. Damn it. Okay. Effectively, what I wanted to tell you is instead of using the FMS file from SimBrief, you can, if you wanted to, you could rename that FMS file, skip using the company route import, and you simply use that facility. Let's actually do it. Why not? Let's do it. We can use the Uplink facility. So there, it's killed. So I'm going to take the SimBrief one. Why is it open? Where is it open? I don't have it anywhere open. It must be in the Zibo then. It must be somewhere in the FMC then. Yeah, man. Okay. What I wanted to do was, I just wanted to show you, I can take that file name, I can rename the NAVEK file to have that name. So instead then of using company root to import it, I will import it through there. Zibo made the code of this upload to include sit, star, runway, everything, but it is dependent on the file format that is read. So as long as the FMS file, that file called B738X, as long as that file is then the NAVEK one that contains the data, you can't extract something if it's not there. But if it's that file renamed to that name, you can import it through the uplink and it will do the same job. It will put the sit, star, runway, transitions, everything in there for you. So effectively, you do not need to use the company root anymore. But you just have to keep your wits about you, you know, which FMS one you want to use. That's all. As easy as that. Hell, I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, for those people that like to keep their flight plans in the flight plan folder, once you've downloaded it, another possibility is to highlight the one that you're going to fly, select copy, and then paste, and then rename the copy file. So you've got the original one and a new one named B738X.
X. Okay. Yeah, or like I said, because these are two distinct different systems in the FMC. I mean, you do not have to have an FMS that's called B738X. You can just use company root with that name and done. Or like Max said, I mean, it's entirely individual. You know, you decide what you want to do. I mean, I can't tell you how to do it. It's not a question of right and wrong. You've got your own style, you know, make it yours. Just remember what the difference is and why you would want to or not want to do it. That's all. Yeah. Thanks, Mac. Next.
Do you want to answer Steve's question, or are we going to?
I answered his. No, I answered his question. Okay. He says, got it. Excellent. Steve, you're 100% okay now.
No, it was about the installation of Python.
Oh, that one. Yeah, the thing with Python is you need Python 3.10, and once you've got Python installed correctly, you just drop the little script in place, you know. But
there's two stages, isn't there?
Yeah.
3.12 is the latest. You then need to get the conversion file that is the plugin for Zibo, and then the latest.
Mac, what I wanted to say is I don't want to get involved with support of a product that's not ours. Okay.
Fair enough.
Antonio needs to do the support on his own plugin, and that is why you guys need to talk with him here on Discord. Okay. So let me show you the plugin. I'm going to try and delete this. If it doesn't work, you see it doesn't work. Let's do this. I'm going to kill this thing. Okay. And let it start from the beginning, and then you can see the whole operation anyway. Okay. So just bear with me. Sorry, Tom?
That'd be great, sorry.
Yeah. Okay. These are the files that I got from Antonio's plugin earlier. I moved them out for the tutorial sake. So this is, let's call it my backup. I'm not going to worry about it right now. What I'm going to do is just start up my explain quickly again, and then I'll show you. Okay. So that is my FMS plans folder in explain. So it's output FMS plans. Okay. So in my explain, I've obviously got Antonio's little script. In the script, I've already installed my SimBrief ID. So this script is going to talk to SimBrief, is going to query SimBrief. It's going to then see, there is a new flight plan, and then what it's going to do is it's automatically going to find the file, files, multiple, and it's going to download them for us. So and rename them. Don't make a mistake. It even does that. You'll see as it works. I'm going to try keep this thing on the screen as much as possible, okay? And you'll see once Explain starts up, okay, and it goes through all the motions of everything that needs to start up and does, what it needs to do what it needs to does, my English, your English, then you'll see it will automatically do what it needs to do. It's actually very neat. It's brilliant. And the only difference between Hendrik's little program and this one, in essence, at the end of the day, will be Hendrik's one runs outside of Explain. This one runs inside of Explain that Antonio makes. Okay? So if you struggle to get Python going, go for Hendrik's one. At the end of the day, it's going to do the same job.
Antonio,
go, Paul.
And Antonio's plugin reads from the different OFP formats, provided that airline's got 737s.
Yes, correct?
Well, that's interesting because obviously each airline's got its own way of going about things.
Yeah.
And so, for example, one airline might put top of climb winds in at one stage, and then the actual waypoint winds later on.
Yeah.
Other airlines would use average winds for the lot. Other airlines probably wouldn't bother at all. So it would be interesting to see whether that plugin changes what gets inserted into the FMC.
Exactly.
Does that make any sense?
It makes sense. I just want to quickly leave this thing in a position where we can grab it quickly, and then I want to show you the plugin. So it's called SimBrief to Zibo. All right, and there it is. You see it's now stating that it's starting the SimBrief query. And look at that. Look how fast it was. Look, it's already picked up LIME, EDDB. So it's already made the XML and FMS in B3.8. And it's given us the ICAO to ICAO.fms plan. Okay, which gives you immediately the ability to choose yourself whether you want to use company route or whether you just want to use the one-stop button and do the uplink, and it will give you everything. Okay, so in my case, in Nico's case, let's look at the scenario here, right? I'm now going to save my Navigraph file. I'm going to replace it. So that now becomes the Navigraph file, including sit stars, runways, everything. I can then now decide, do I use that in my company route import with that naming convention, or do I simply go and copy the name, delete that file, rename that one, and now I skip the company route import, and all I do is I go and import, you see now, do that one, flight plan request, the uplink. So by doing the uplink, it's reading these two files, and it should put everything in place. The only problem is I jumped the gun completely now, because I didn't even do IRS alignment or anything. I don't think it's going to work. Nico's too fast. Nico's an idiot. Sorry, gentlemen.
Oh, it's ready.
Yeah, it's ready in the plugin, but it's not ready there.
Yeah,
that thing
got load.
That thing's dead.
So Nico, the SimBrief to Zibo plugin is a 1.0 on the GitHub. Is it 1.2 on yours? Is there a different one out there somewhere?
Yes, down in Discord. Guys, if you want Antonio's plugin to play with it so long, it's in Discord. It's in the freeware plugins room in Discord. Okay, so you can grab it there. The latest one. Right, there you go. I think we're going to have more luck now. Luck is stupid. Okay, so let's do this. We're going to uplink again. Hope it works.
Yeah, that file you download, you just drag it into the Python plugin folder.
Yeah, there you go. I'll show them just now, Mac. I'll show them.
Yeah.
Right, so there you go. You see, I've used the uplink now, but with my renamed FMS plan from NAVEK. I've done the execution, activation and execution, and it should include the SIDs and stars. You see, there, look, there's your runway, there's your SID. You see, so it's going to literally come down to your preference, you know. I think the easiest way of doing it is just to have two files. I like what Antonio did. I do not want him to change that. I think the option to use company root import is very important to have it there. But it for me comes down to that's the easiest way of doing it. You just take both of those files, whether it comes from NAVEK or SimBrief, you just need to understand the difference, pick the one you want, rename it, and then you're ready to go. Okay. As easy as that. And if you really don't want to do what Nico does, I mean, I showed you the Antonio files. Just move it into position. Right, so this is what Antonio does. He gives you the two B738X files as well as the company root file. I mean, you can't ask for more than that. That is exactly everything we can dream about. John, it's in Discord. Let me quickly show you guys. Okay, I'm going to just bring Discord on here. If you go to freeware plugins, there it is. That's literally what it is. So there, if you scroll up a little bit, you see there is the actual GitHub link that he's got. And this is just the actual Python file. What does it look like? Let me show you. Okay, so if we go in here, explain resources, plugins, Python plugins. That little file over there, that's literally it. The only prerequisite is you need Python 3.10 to use it. Okay, 3.11 is broken as far as explain is concerned. Don't go there. Mac mentioned there's a 3.12. I haven't tried it, but I'm using Python 3.10, and then you've got that interface program. So my suggestion would be go to the GitHub. Where's that thing? Go to the GitHub link. Okay, and then start reading. Antonio tells you this is the prerequisite. Get it, install it, get it going. Okay. Now, for those of you that don't want to go through all these hoops, okay, I spoke to Hendrik today for the first time, and he said to me, Nico, I just need to understand exactly, and then I need to adapt my program, because his program is a little exe thing that just runs in your memory, you know, at the bottom right-hand side next to your time in your Windows machine. And that thing is going to obviously now have to be adapted, and it's going to do exactly the same thing. So it will end up giving you the two B737-800X files, those two. That's what it's going to end up to give you. So don't jump the gun, okay? Don't frustrate yourself. If you don't come right, come ask Antonio, If he doesn't have time or something happens and it doesn't work, Hendrik's coming. Hendrik will be around. And I know, again, personal preference. Some people like the one, some people like the other one. Me personally, I like the Antonio one, and I did use the Hendrik one for quite some time. And for the purposes of this video, obviously, I'm using Antonio because I'm showing you this is what can happen. Zibo opted not to interface with SimBrief, but Antonio said he'll do it. So, that's where you get SimBrief to Zibo. And there you can see, I mean, let's put it somewhere nice where you can read it. There's my SimBrief ID. You understand? And then if you update it, we've put this, this is a request from my side, that's why I say we. Antonio put this in here, you can actually click reload. So if you recompiled your flight plan OFP on SimBrief, you can reload it. It will overwrite these files. Please don't delete them. I made the mistake. It will not work if you delete them. You have to keep those files. Then click reload. It will then compare the two and then give you the latest one. Okay, so just bear that in mind. Just a little quirk there that I didn't know of. But I mean, it's logic.
You must never empty that folder then. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Well, no. It's per session. So you can delete them when you close your X-plane. But let's say you are in a place where we've now discovered that, let's say, runway 28 is no longer in use. We now need runway 15 or whatever the heck the next runway would be. Okay, yeah. So now you go to SimBrief, you edit the flight plan, and then you say create the new OFP. It then runs that little green bar, it creates the new OFP. Then you come in, you click the reload button, it will then update those files. Okay,
perfect.
All right, so I hope that makes sense. They should be, but it could be that you missed one of the requirements. Let's just quickly have a look. It's called Python plugins, not Python apps. Okay. I know there is like an interface program. McTrying was the first one to remind me about it this evening on stream here. You can't just install Python. There is like a secondary thing that you need to install as well. Okay. So, John, my best advice to you is come speak to Antonio. Let him take you step by step through the installation, or otherwise wait for Hendrik's program that runs on the outside that requires none of this. Okay.
Nico, can you copy the link from the free plugins folder for the GitHub? If he goes to the GitHub page for SimBrief to Zibo plugin, it's got the instructions there about what he needs to do.
Well, I've just opened it here, so let me do this, right? Ryan, I'll answer you just now. We need to speak to Antonio about that, okay? Buddy, we need to speak to him because Antonio is on a Mac, okay? And
but it shows you there about
yeah. We'll get there, Mac. We'll get there. Antonio is on a Mac, and he will know best. He designed this thing. He developed this on a Mac. Okay, you see the Mac OS 10.14, whatever. Let me just quickly paste this link in there. Where's this thing?
No, just copy that page, then it shows you the links to the different bits for about Python. And
it's all done. It's all done. Okay, so what you're going to need, obviously, is Python 3.10. Okay, but there is the other bit that we're hammering on. It's this P. Buckner's XPP Python 3 plugin. You need to run that. And there's a hell of a long page that you need to read and go through because you need to get it in place. Then you start your X-plane. Then it runs a routine. You know, it goes through certain things that then creates the plugin the Python plugins. Okay, so it creates that at a later stage for you. Okay, but it's like building blocks. The one fits onto the other one. So yeah, anyway.
Best advice is anybody who's struggling, come and join Skymatix Discord and contact one of us guys that who've installed it, and we'll aid you anyway.
Okay, but please don't contact me, not me.
Well volunteered, Mac.
Yes.
I was going to say, I'll go through it because I've just done it today.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Mac. So McTrying will help you, or otherwise Antonio directly, because guys, look, I've got enough work. I mean...
No, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
All I'm thinking is not everybody's in the same time zone
Of course.
as Antonio.
Of course. Yeah, he's in Italy, so they can obviously contact him in that freeware folder where I showed you in Discord. Drop him a note, ask him, I'm pretty sure it will go to PM if it doesn't stay in public, and he'll sort you out. That's the big thing, okay? I just don't want to be the guy sorting you out because I can't keep track of everything. I've got too many other responsibilities. And to be honest, Antonio helped me with my installation as well because it's just... Yeah. Yeah, please don't go 3.11. Stick to 3.10. But Ryan, like I said, Antonio is a Mac guy. It was designed on Mac. It shouldn't be a problem. Whereas Hendrik on the other side, his thing is designed in Windows. I doubt he's got a Mac version. You understand? So there is a distinct difference between them. I'm using Explain on Windows. I've got Python running, so I don't care which one I use, but you guys have to then consider. And the benefit of having either of these little programs is literally it interfaces with SimBrief live automatically for you. So it saves you downloading the files, it saves you renaming that. All you do is you jump into the aircraft, you go to your route page and you click the flight plan request, and magically it's just going to appear. Sorry, falling over my own tongue. It's just magically going to appear, and it's done.
Anyway, the Python question is 3.12 is the latest, and that definitely works on Windows.
Yeah, you've got that, but I've still got 3.10, and I know Antonio's got 3.10 Mac, so that's fine.
That's fine, yeah.
Okay, more questions, gentlemen, or are you satisfied? Did I explain the situation good enough so we can use this video as a reference for the next person who wants to know how this thing works?
I reckon it's brilliant.
Okay. Means a lot, Paul. Thank you.
I think it's outstanding. I'm going to test it today, so I will let you know.
Excellent.
I like the reload function he put into it also, so you can make sure it's the right route.
Yeah. Well,
that was one that was when the other version of the SimBrief to Zibo didn't have that, and if you didn't load the right SimBrief in right, it would just give you the one from last, and you could not change it.
Yes. Okay, so just on that note, this one actually tells you which route has been imported and given to you, because it also gives you all three files. You can see, those two and this one came together. So the chances of these two being related to that one is 100%. And because it actually tells you, it's also 100%. Okay. The prerequisites is interesting. You need to spawn in cold and dark. Okay. And you need to preferably have dispatched your flight before starting Explain and the Zibo, because what happened to me a couple of times now, and this is why I requested the reload button, okay, is I do my circuit testing in Porto, right? So I'm LPPR, but then I had another flight LPPR to somewhere else, but it kept on giving me LPPR. It just wanted to keep me in the circuit. That's why I wanted the reload button, because you need to get the sequence correct. Okay, so I haven't tested it that much yet, but the purpose of the reload button is if you did a new dispatch, like I've explained already, okay, and you click reload, it will then bring in the latest dispatch documents from SimBrief. Okay, so that should get rid of all confusion, really. You know, just make sure to click the reload button if you know you've done a newer one. Thank you, Rob.
Good evening.
Good evening, Sasso.
Good evening, Sasso.
Hello.
This video will not interest you in the slightest, Sasso.
Yeah, don't elaborate now. Don't worry about it. Sasso,
Yeah.
welcome and thank you for joining us. But I'm just at the end of my stream now, so just hang tight. Let me say goodbye to the guys, then we can have a chat.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Before you do, make sure you thank both Zibo and the guys with these little add-ons.
Yes.
That's
Thank you.
Absolute formality. Yes. Zibo, thank you so much for this facility. I know we've talked about it for like 18 months already. I'm glad it's here. I'm glad we can show the guys. Amazing work. I see you've already fixed a couple of problems. There's already a 5.3 in the works there. So thank you so much. And then Antonio and Hendrik, guys, for the interfaces that you write. I think the community will ever be indebted to you for that. It's absolutely amazing that we can have that from you guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, brilliant.
Brilliant.
Okay, Kevin, you're welcome. Ryan, Owen, everybody else. Gents, thank you so much. Drop me a note or something if there's something unclear. Oh, John Griffith, thank you so much, man. Appreciate the gesture there. Really amazing. If you need to have a little bit more information, Facebook or Discord is actually even better. You know, come talk to us here in the public channels, because then there's a couple of people that can answer, then it's not just me. Otherwise, you know, Facebook, let's see what we can do, or the forum for that matter. You know, and then we'll help you out. And like I said, Zibo's already spotted some bugs that he's fixing in 5.3. Not sure when it's coming, but it's coming. Okay. So anyway, that's enough rambling. You guys have fun. Enjoy. We'll talk again. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Thank you, Nico.
Bye.